An abridgment of Thomas Manton's commentary on James, chapter 1, verse 8. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all he does. In verse 7, James warned that the doubter, likened to the waves of the sea tossed to and fro by the wind, should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Verse 8 further describes him as a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. The wavering heart, torn between God and the world, lacks the stability required for effective prayer and faithful living. This passage underscores the necessity of unwavering faith and single-minded devotion to God. The word double-minded signifies a person with two souls and may imply that such a person is a hypocrite. The same word is used in James 4 verse 8. Purify your hearts, you double-minded. Just as he speaks to open sinners to cleanse their hands, he speaks to secret hypocrites, whom he calls double-minded since they pretend one thing but mean another. They are to purify their hearts and grow more inwardly sincere. This word is similar to the Hebrew word for deceive. Psalm 12 verse 2 says, "Their flattering lips speak with deception," which in Hebrew is to speak with a heart and a heart, expressing something double or deceitful. Deceitful weights in Proverbs 20 verse 23 are a weight and a weight, again expressing deceit. Just as Theophrastus says of the partridges of Paphlagonia that they had two hearts, every hypocrite has two hearts or two souls. It may also imply a person who is distracted and divided. They float between two different opinions, as if they have two minds or two souls. In the Apostles' time, some Judaizing brethren sometimes sided with the Jews and sometimes with the Christians, not settled in the truth. An example of this double-mindedness is seen in 2 Kings 17 verse 33, which says, "They worshiped the Lord, but they also served their own gods. They were divided between God and idols." The prophet calls this a double or divided heart. Their heart is deceitful, and now they must bear their guilt. Hosea 10 verse 2. Athanasius applied this description to the Eusebians, who sometimes held one thing and then another. Double-minded persons are those who are unsettled in their thoughts. In the context of James, this may refer to those whose minds are tossed to and fro with various ideas, now lifted up with presumption, then cast down in despair, torn between hopes and fears concerning their acceptance with God. This sense best conveys the apostle's purpose. An unstable man has no constancy of soul. He is sometimes ready to depart from God and sometimes close to him, not settled in his religious profession. This instability has a deleterious effect on everything one does. Some apply the phrase, "in all he does," chiefly to prayer because those doubtful about its success often practice it sporadically. However, it is a general maxim, as the apostle says, "in all he does," or as the King James Version puts it, "in all his ways." This stands for any counsel, action, thought, or purpose. In essence, James highlights the instability of a double-minded person. Such a person is inconsistent in their faith, torn between contradictory beliefs and unable to fully commit to God. This instability affects all aspects of life, leading to an unsettled and divided existence. Firstly, consider the nature of unbelieving hypocrites. They possess a double mind. Lacking the Spirit and being led by their own affections, they cannot find stability. Fear, love for the world, and ungodly hopes draw them in different directions, for they have no certain guide or rule. The godly man, in contrast, will have no fear of bad news. His heart is steadfast, trusting in the Lord. Psalm 112 verse 7. Such people walk by a sure rule and cling to sure promises. Thus, even as circumstances change, their hearts remain steadfast, for the foundation of their hope is unchanging. Ungodly men, however, see their hearts rise and fall with the news. When affairs are uncertain, so are their hopes, for they are anchored to unstable objects. Double-minded individuals are constantly torn between expectation and jealousy, doubts and fears. At one moment, they are full of confidence in their prayers, and later, they are engulfed in sorrow and despair. This may be why the psalmist compares the wicked to chaff. Psalm 1 verse 4. They are driven here and there, living by guesswork rather than any sure aim. Moreover, hypocrites waver, distracted between conscience and ungodly desires. Their desires lead them to Baal, but their consciences pull them toward God. The prophet Elijah addresses such people by asking, "How long will you waver between two opinions?" 1 Kings 18 verse 21. They often engage in promiscuous compliance, which though used in ungodly policy, tends to their harm. This indifference is detested by both God and men. God declares, "I know your deeds, that you are neither cold nor hot. I wish you were either one or the other. So, because you are lukewarm, I am about to spit you out of my mouth." Revelation 3 verse 15 to 16. Lukewarmness causes vomiting. Thus, lukewarm Christians are rejected by God. His ways are honored only by zealous earnestness. Secondly, consider that a doubting mind brings uncertainty to our lives and conversations. If our minds are double, our ways will be unstable. A firm expectation of the hopes of the gospel produces obedience, and a firm belief in the doctrines of the gospel produces perseverance. No one walks as closely with God as those assured of his love. Faith is the mother of obedience. When people are apart from Christ, they become slack in their duties. We do not engage cheerfully in anything we doubt. Therefore, when we are unsure whether God will accept us, we serve him intermittently. It is a slander to think that assurance is an unimportant doctrine. The soul is never as quickened as by the joy of the Lord. Nehemiah 8 verse 10. Faith, filling the heart with spiritual joy, provides strength for all our duties and labors. No one is as constant in any truth as he who is convinced of its grounds. When we are only half convinced, we are usually unstable. 2 Peter 3 verse 17. Every believer should have solid rational grounds to support their faith. Believers are told to give the reason for the hope that you have, 1 Peter 3 verse 15. The inner motives that lead them to assent to the truth. See also 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 21. Therefore, work to understand the grounds of your religion. If you love a truth in ignorance, you cannot love it constantly. In summary, James highlights the instability and inconsistency of the double-minded person. Such a person is unsettled, torn between contradictory beliefs, and unable to fully commit to God. This instability affects all aspects of their life, leading to a divided and uncertain existence. True faith and understanding of God's promises lead to steadfastness and perseverance in all areas of life.